So hang on to your hats, everybody. We're going to switch screens and we are going to listen to Daniel Ben-Ezra of the Essenes, the Children of the Light.
In the interlife sessions with Daniel, we were able to get more information on the events surrounding the crucifixion. I began by asking Daniel if he had investigated the drama around the crucifixion after his own death.
Of course. The first question I asked when I woke up in the interlife was, what happened to Jesus? I remember they laughed, the ones assigned to help me. They said, all the Essenes are asking us this. Be patient, you will know soon enough. And indeed, through the angelic record, I was able to review it all. After Jesus was taken down from the cross, it was clear that he was far out of his body, for he did not move at all. I saw him being placed in the tomb, and the great stone being rolled across the entrance. Then I saw the light around Jesus increase greatly. One part of the light rose and ascended into the heavens, but the other part continued to focus around the body. Then I learned how well the core group had prepared for it all. His tomb wasn't really a tomb at all, but a healing chamber. If it was widely known that he had survived, there would have been many out looking for him, and not with good intent. So what appeared to be a tomb was a chamber into which healers could enter to do their healing.
But surely the entrance to the tomb was sealed with a large stone, and there were soldiers guarding it. How could anyone have got into the tomb to do the healing?
More easily than you might think. The Essenes had constructed a tunnel leading from the back of the tomb and running some distance underground to Joseph's house, which was nearby. It was cut through the rock for a little way, and then sloped down into the earth. One could walk along this tunnel, not at full height, but stooping a little. It went through the earth and then led up into a space behind the tomb. The door into the tomb was cleverly made of thick wood, but the outer side of it, which would be visible to anyone standing inside the tomb, was treated so that it looked like rock. The door fitted into the slots so that as you went down the tunnel towards the tomb, the door had to be lifted up into these slots, and then it could be pulled out and laid on one side. You could then crawl through a hole into the tomb itself. So even if someone stood inside the tomb with the door in place, they would see only rock. The door and the tunnel were skillfully done. But remember that much time was available to prepare the tomb. We knew the teacher would come and would go through a ritual death experience. So the need for the tomb to act as a healing chamber was clear from the beginning. Under the direction of the Kalu and the core group, our people simply worked toward that need. It was a secret operation, of course. After the light had hovered around the body for some time, I could see he was breathing more deeply. But even so, it was clear that he would need a lot of reviving. Although he had been far out of body, the shock of the crucifixion would have been immense. Jesus had trained himself for years in body and mind to withstand this massive shock, but we should not underestimate the impact upon him. Luke and Claire, the sister of Jesus, led the healing team. These were the most powerful healers in all the Essene brotherhood, and they worked day and night upon him. The great stone at the entrance to the tomb was designed to shut out every ray of light from outside, but it also made it impossible for any outside witness to see the light of lamps inside the tomb. And the great bulk of the stone also muffled any sound from within. I was shown what happened during this healing process, and I can describe it to you. I see the healers anoint Jesus in healing ointments, and there are huge crystals all around him. So he's being revived. It's taking some time to do because he's far out of body. But the healers are confident that they can bring him back. And when he comes back into the body again, he comes slowly, like one who has drifted off into a faraway place. And he comes reluctantly because the pain from the wounds, even with all that healing, is still intense, and he gasps with pain as he re-enters the body. And then he slowly opens his eyes and sees Claire smiling down at him, and tears of joy are running down her face.
In another session, I had the chance to ask Joseph about the difficulties of getting Jesus out of the tomb.
After we revived Jesus, he was not able to walk, so we used a simple stretcher and slid him down into the tunnel, and then along, and then lifted him when we reached my house. My house was close by, but it was still a difficult and anxious thing to accomplish. I feel the weight of the responsibility, all the secrecy and preparation. Only very few members of the Essene Brotherhood knew the extent of our plans, and the existence of the tunnel was revealed only to those directly involved. Even Mary did not know of the tunnel while it was being made. I told her just before the meeting in the cave, for the fewer who knew, the safer it was.
But what happened to this tunnel afterwards? Wouldn't it have been discovered eventually? Surely the Pharisees would examine the tomb after the body of Jesus disappeared. However good the door was at the back of it, wouldn't they have found it sooner or later?
Yes, and Joseph knew this. In the turmoil of that time, he had to act quickly. A prominent Essene at Qumran had just died, and he was laid to rest in the tomb in some haste. The stone was rolled back again to seal the entrance, and then the work began in earnest. A stable was hurriedly built on Joseph's land at the back of the tomb, right over where they knew the tunnel ran. Using the stable as a cover, they broke through into the tunnel and filled it up with earth at the tomb end, removing all trace of that carefully crafted door. By this time, the Pharisees were demanding to see inside the tomb, but that had to be agreed by the Sanhedrin because the Essenes, led by Joseph, cried outrage and desecration of a grave. By the time the Pharisees finally got authorization to open and inspect the tomb, the work had been completed and nothing suspicious could be found. As usual, the Brotherhood had covered its tracks efficiently, and by then Jesus had been taken to Qumran and thence from one safe house to another north to Damascus. After he was safely out of our land, the brothers started to move our most precious things along that northward route, taking the most valuable scrolls out of harm's way. We knew that it was only a question of time before Qumran was destroyed, but our main task had been completed by then. When the outer work of the teacher of righteousness is finished, the whole structure around him can be dismantled. Joseph's interventions to obtain the body of Jesus and later to keep the tomb closed cost him dearly. These were the first times he had spoken publicly for any Essene, as up to then all had been done quietly behind the scenes. From that point on, people began asking where Joseph's real loyalty lay. When the Pharisees found nothing amiss in the tomb, their full fury turned upon Joseph, and he realized that he would very soon have to leave. If all traces of Jesus had eluded them, at least they had the living Joseph to vent their rage upon. From that time, all the weight of their investigations centered upon Joseph and his connections with the Essenes.
In Jesus and the Essenes, Sadi says that the body of Jesus went through an accelerated process, during which it crumbled rapidly into dust. This is not the only theory about Jesus after the crucifixion. We thought it was important to give Daniel the opportunity to comment.
Of course, the news that the tomb was empty spread rapidly. There was so much confusion at that time that, frankly, I did not know what to believe. But when I talked to Joseph in the interlife, after his death, the truth finally came out. He told me that this vanishing into dust was a rumor which the core group had spread in order to protect Jesus. To say that his body had crumbled into dust, helped by the angels, was a most useful story. It explained why the tomb was empty and also discouraged anyone from looking for the body. The core group did not want anyone looking for Jesus, alive or dead, and his security had to be considered.
What an amazing story. 150 years in the making, when they started planning for the teacher of righteousness to come down into the Essene community